So in this video I'd like to talk about Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And I'd like to talk about how I think a lot of people who played this game and its predecessor, Ghost Recon Wildlands, seem to hate Breakpoint. And I started wondering when I played this game is why do people hate it compared to Wildlands? Because if you take any component of the game, you measure anything you want, like animation quality, character models, landscape, the quality of the foliage, the audio, the sound, almost everything is better than in Wildlands. And still people hate this game. And I think it comes down to the weather, or more precisely to the color correction. Okay, this sounds stupid on the surface, but let me show you. Okay, so now it's daytime, and I'm on a pretty high mountain over here in Breakpoint. See here, beautiful graphics, everything. You see it's sun shining, but notice something's missing. Like there's some ashen layer or some color correction that prevents the colors from really shining. See that? Like something's missing in the scene. And I'm playing this on the absolute highest setting you can possibly get. Okay, so now let me show you something interesting. Okay, this is my screenshot folder for Ghost Recon Wildlands. First I'm going to show you just some thumbnails as I'm scrolling. Notice as I'm scrolling, can you feel the difference here? Just from looking at the thumbnails, you see how vibrant the colors are in the first game. Okay, let me find the specific screenshot. Let me find this one. Okay, this is the first game. It came out in 2016, and Breakpoint came out in 2019. So this is 3 years old. And notice something. Notice it looks better because it's. Notice the colors look more real. Like the colors pop more, and the sunlight is basically pure white, and there's no color grading that I can see here. However, notice the quality of the object, of the geometry, of the trees is actually worse than the second game. Okay, let's look at some more pictures. You see here again, you get this desert setting, but notice the sunlight is perfectly pure white. And notice how the colors just look nice, how it really pleases your optical nerves as you look at the colors over here. Now I'm going to quickly switch back into the main game, into Breakpoint. Notice the difference here. Like there's this ashen color filter over everything. Okay, now I'm going to just jump into a more forested area. Now switch the clothing to a more jungle setting. Okay, there's some ground fog, but notice here, the foliage is much more complex and more beautiful than in the first game. So this is an absolutely beautiful game, but notice that the colors, like something is clamping the colors from reaching their full vibrancy in this game. Like there's some color correction filter that desaturates the entire game, no matter where you are, even though it's completely sunshine right now. And I think that's the main reason I think players didn't like the second game as much as the first game. Because as you can see here, like everything is better, more detail, everything's more beautiful. Okay, now let's switch back to the screenshot folder. Okay, now back in the screenshot folder. Scroll around a bit. This game uses some aggressive color correction in different weathers. See here, now it's a bit more rainy, now it's a bit grayer. Okay, let's go a bit further. And just by looking at the pictures from a distance, like the thumbnails, notice that the color vibrancy is just so beautiful that that's something that's missing in the second game. Let's scroll a bit further here. Because in terms of climate zones or different vegetation areas, the second game has, I think, almost everything the first game has. It doesn't have the the total deserts like in the first game. It doesn't have these hyper-arid areas that much. I think it has some strips of it, but not as much. But let's see how beautiful the colors just pop in this game. And I think that's the single most reason why the second game is hated, because I think on a subconscious level, as you're playing the game, something just, like you feel like something's missing as you're playing. And unless you like really focus on colors in video games, which I think most people don't do consciously, then I think they overlook it. See, look at this nice screenshot. It looks nice, but if you look at the trees over here, the quality of the trees and the vegetation is noticeably lower than in this game. Because I think the second game here, it's an absolute masterpiece of different foliage presentation. Like you have the little thinner grass, then the higher grass, and the way it moves when it's a bit windier, it's just fantastic. So if only they would have not used that over-aggressive, overcast color correction, I think, then this game would have gotten, I think, a much better score in reviewers and would be more popular among players. Now, I think there's also some other reasons for not being as popular, because when it started out, it had that stupid gear score system, which you can turn off. They added it in a patch, you can turn off. And if you set all the settings to the max realism settings, then it's actually really amazing co-op multiplayer milsim shooter. There's an argument some people make that I think it's a bit too that they think it's a bit too sterile. Like you have this high-tech island, and most enemies have these weird uniforms, so it doesn't have that relatable Narcos real-world supposed realism like the first game. Even though I think the first game was also highly comical and exaggerated, because it fed into that whole South American drug scenario type of game. Oh shit, wrong. So that's what I want to make this video, is that first to give players who know the game but think it's not good enough, I highly recommend getting the game because it's amazing. And I wanted to, I think, shine some light on the supposed dislike players have for this game compared to the first game. Because if you isolate most of those parts of this game, it is functionally better than the first game in almost every way you can imagine. It's just that everything has that weird ashen color correction over it. Like even if you use the photo mode and you try to set it to the sunniest weather, it still has that ashen gray thing to it. Okay, I hope this wasn't too long of a rant, and as always, thanks for watching.